Hi Gaurav. Hi Viken. Hi Habib. Hi Aka. Heißt bestimmt Anton. Ich bin ein bisschen spät dran, tut mir leid. Hi Marco, hi Satan. All the money. 30 seconds. Sorry for the delay. Hello everyone, let's get started. I have no financial interests, I have no sponsored links, and I don't want no donations, please. Please join the No Money, No Shave movement, which means we will only shave once it moons. Everyone sets his moon target himself. Quick reminder regarding the wallets. Please never ever send crypto from your public address, and I will make that link available in the description of the video of this list I have created of the payment services. It's a list of services like Revolut, you might have heard. Celsius, I guess, is one. I don't remember all those names. They have all different features and attributes, and if you consider in the future wanting to pay directly, it's not really directly, but thinking you want to pay with crypto directly, then you should use one of these services. So you send your XRP there or whatever other coin and use it via those services. What did I say? You will anyway not pay directly with your crypto. You just think you do, but the merchant, like the shop wherever you buy something, will not receive XRP. They will receive fiat, but the service will reduce your balance in the appropriate amount of your crypto and then pay out in fiat anyway. So you think you paid in XRP, but the shop in 99.9% of the cases won't receive crypto anyway. So that's one thing. Then another thing today I don't have many topics to talk about actually. And the other thing, it tells me YouTube is not receiving enough data, but actually it sends quite enough. I think it's on the YouTube side. I quickly want to go through something, but let me quickly answer the first questions. My dog is an Australian Shepherd. Now it says excellent connection. Australian Shepherd, and I put that picture because today was a rainy day and we basically stayed inside, and actually because I kind of didn't sleep so well tonight, I was sleeping in the afternoon. In the past few days, I was talking to several people about technical analysis, TA, if that really helps to improve your profits. And there were like different results on that, non-conclusive different results. Some people said it yields a higher profit than one guy on my Telegram group. He said it only yields a higher profit if you also make sure of risk management, like diversification. I'm assuming is one thing you could do regarding risk management and stuff like that. And my gut feeling is you may, with TA, you may be able to predict some stuff, at least direction wise. But I mean, I'm pretty sure the drop on the Dow Jones this Monday wasn't predicted by any of the TA guys, and that stuff you will never be able to anticipate how a market will react on certain news. Let's just for a moment assume on the next G20 they decide to ban Bitcoin mining from their countries, like China. I think in Japan we have miners, in Russia, in US, due to climate stuff, because it uses so much electricity. Right now, last thing I heard is it uses, like Bitcoin mining uses so much electricity as the whole country of Switzerland. I mean that's something you will, like when such a nuclear bomb hits the crypto space, that's something no one will be able to predict. Up until then, maybe. Anyway, I remember about a year ago I did some rough analysis on my trades on XRP and on the prices we had in XRP. And on the platform I'm trading, eToro, you can, on each and every trade, you can put a take profit and a stop loss. And I didn't understand the stop loss until that moment when I started doing research on it. And actually the stop loss is something quite interesting. You can, and usually the stop loss, I don't know if it's usually trailing or if you have to tell it it's trailing. Trailing means, let's say you start at $1, buy some asset, and then it goes up to $2, and you have set the stop loss at 10%. So your trade will be closed once it drops again to 190. That would be trailing, because it actually 180, because 10% of $2 is 20 cents. At 180, when it drops to 180 again, the trade would be closed. That would be trailing, because the 10% would always be according to the current price. That's one stop loss, and the other one is where it stays at $1 and you tell the system, as soon as it is 10% lower than my initial price, that $1, in that case 19 cents, close the trade. But let's assume we're working with trailing stop losses. That basically I can show you the figures, because I actually have prepared everything. Hold on. So I will not show my face in order to have some space for you to look at. Hold on, so that I can see the stream health. So basically, on CoinCodex.com I could export the data for any period, and I exported from 1st of January 2018, when we were almost at the all-time high, up to today. So basically I have today, I have the closing price. I could have taken quite a wind right now. I could have taken the open price as well. Then I calculated the change from this, from the previous day to today. That's the change. And then the stop loss. And the stop loss is basically calculated on 5%. So as soon as we drop 5% or more, there is a true in that fourth column. Okay, 5% or more yields a true. The trigger would actually be, and here, I mean, because it's not like real-time data, I'm really just basing it on the close price. I take this 5% of the closing price, of the previous closing price, and deduct that. So 3.22 minus 5% is 3.059. And because I started with 1000 XRP, and I would sell then at this slightly lower price than what we started or closed the night before, I end up, first I have to say, basically I put $2,460 in at this price 2.46, so that gave me 1000 XRP in the example, okay, 1000 XRP up here on the right. Now the first drop is here, so at that price I would sell, which would yield me a current balance of $3,059. The new trade then would be either, if it drops even further, I would re-enter at minus 3%, or that figure isn't correct, here should be a 1, or once it starts rising again at 1% higher. So let me find, okay, so basically, because it dropped higher than the 5%, the re-entry would be this 3% lower than my sales, than my stop loss trigger, which then would yield me that amount of XRP. Then we continue that until today, and as you can see, when we go down to today with those figures, I basically would have more than doubled my XRP from 1000 to 2000, and only by doing the following. Every time it dropped more than 5%, close the trade. If it drops more, like 3% more than the 5%, re-enter the market. Obviously this could be with a bot, this could be fine-tuned. If it started rising immediately at minus 5% again, then at 1% plus I basically would re-enter, and that would yield my in this year, well actually it's 2 years, 2018, 2019 and 2 months in 2020, but that would yield basically in the duplicate amount of of XRP as with what I have started. And now the funny thing is, I act because I'm not employed anymore now. I really have time to do such stuff. How can it tell not enough data? It's 14,000 kilobytes. It's like 5 times as high as it needs to be. Can you hear me? Thumbs up. And see me waving. That's really weird. Hoi Sonja, meine Liebe. Bald kommst du zurück aus deinen Ferien. Also morgen eigentlich, ziemlich genau in 18 Stunden. So can you hear and see me? Hoje em inglês, Sonja. Você precisa falar all the money. Okay, everything good. Okay, anyway, what I want to do is create the bot. What I will be needing for that is a small web server. I'm hoping that I can get a very cheap web server on Amazon Web Services, or I think Google has web servers. And the idea would be to use exactly those figures, like check the price on Bitstamp. If it drops 5%, sell. The XRP I have, like whatever amount, I think I will maybe invest, I don't know, $100 maybe, I don't know. This I don't know yet. It's just a test to see how it works. Maybe $500. I don't know. And then if it drops further, control the price, and as soon as it starts rising again, I could buy again for the amount of money I basically received beforehand. And I'm pretty sure I will do well. I mean, that's the basic idea of stop loss, that you can reduce your losses, and if it drops further, you actually re-enter the market. On eToro it wouldn't be, so easy, because you have a spread of 2.45% on XRP. Other cryptos have even a higher. Some few have a lower spread, like Ethereum and Bitcoin, I think have 1.9%. But on Bitstamp, I think the spread is 0.5%. And that's something which you could live with, I'm pretty sure. So let's see how that's going. And actually, I created a small, it's just a program which fetches the latest trades on Bitstamp. So actually, should I show that? Are you interested in seeing that? Is it that one? Hold on. Yes. Okay, let me show that. So here you can see it, like every time a trade is being done, a new blue line is being written. and it contains like the order ID, the amount, the timestamp when it happened, micro timestamp, the amount of XRP, the price, if it was a sell or a buy order being executed, that kind of stuff. And I, as I said, as I basically don't have any stuff going on right now, I can easily work on that. So that's basically it. One other thing I have to say, I think in the last German live stream, a guy, I think it was Jan Feldkircher, told me about how ETH, also Ethereum smart contracts, receive outside data, and it's actually done via oracles with Chainlink, and that may be the reason why some enthusiasts are propagating Chainlink so much. But as far as I have understood, the Chainlink token itself, I guess, is just to pay the oracle, and as such the Chainlink token, I mean, if that really works and really is decentralized, which I first have to figure out, then it could be a cool thing. And something similar I could imagine they're building with this bridge between Ethereum and XRP. However, there they stated that they want to do that with ILP. So how they're going to do that, I literally have no idea. All the money. George, you mean in this bot thingy? I mean, that's actually a cool idea. That's actually a really cool idea. Are you still with me? It's so... Jack, if you follow me, you know I'm totally not into TA. The last Golden Cross resulted in a drop of 50% in price, like it was around last June, I think early of June. And during the whole month of June we were always above 40, like I think 1 or 2 days we were below 40 cents, 39 cents or so, but the rest of June we were above, and basically right after that we fell to, I don't know, 25 cents or so. George, well, let me first finish that how do you say, that bot. First I have to figure out how to actually get it work. I need to be able to put orders and to actually just creating orders and checking the price. It's not so difficult. And okay, one thing I would need to check is if both seller and buyer pay the 0.5% fee. I'm assuming just the buyer, but actually I have no idea. Moving average. Juicy. Atmen. Breathe. Where are we at right now? 25 cents. Hold on. I didn't really check the last few hours. Last time I checked it was below 26 cents. Almost 24 cents. 5%. Have we been at 24? Let me check. That would be really funny. I mean, I know people who go crazy about that. Like butterfly. Actually, we have been below 25 cents. I hear people shouting already. People don't get nervous, please. I mean, our time will come. I have literally no doubt. Mario Schwarz, if SBI will, I mean, I could imagine SBI brings us in the region of $3 to $5, but as an effect of such a surge, there will be FOMO setting in, and I mean, that's the funny thing. No one believes in a coin once it has low price, and when it starts rising, everyone is jumping on the train, losing already money. Also losing compared to the ones who stepped in early. Josie, vergiss diese TA, das ist so ein Schwachsinn. Forget about TA on XRP. We're waiting for a use case. It's literally, it's not healthy to check the price like every 5 minutes. And it's also not healthy to follow all those researchers and or stupid coin news sites which report FAT all the time. It doesn't help. It doesn't help at all. It just makes you doubt, like it does with Juicy or with Butterfly Trader. I think there were 1 or 2 others on my followers list who were always doubting. I mean, literally, I don't know what I could tell you more. I mean, it's basically like in this 100-meter race. Carl Lewis. Who remembers Carl Lewis? I think it was I don't know, in the late 80s, early 90s maybe. He was the fastest man on 100 meters in the world during years. Like in such a race, when they're in their blocks, like the 2 seconds before the pistol shoots. That's the tension I'm feeling. I'm pretty sure no years of wait anymore. It literally, it doesn't make sense. Give me those who doubt that it will moon this year, and really moon like 3 and 4 digits. Give me any reason why it shouldn't. Pending the fact everything is done, regulation is done, market makers are there. If all those, I wouldn't understand why that shouldn't happen. Who would lose? No one loses. Actually, the world gains. Like the current system, I repeat, costs 1.6 trillion a year. XRP at low volatility will save 30% of that. That's 500 billion at 100% market share. And if we assume that the 30% of the top 100 banks, which basically make, I don't know, 90% of the volume on the cross-border transactions worldwide. So basically from those 500 billions, we can be sure if all those 30% of the top 100 banks could use it due to high price, the world would save a 150 billion divided by those 30 banks. That's per bank 3 billion more profit. So UBS and Credit Suisse in Switzerland, they would literally double their profit, their net profit. Why wouldn't they want to do that? That's incomprehensible. Incomprehensible. George, regulatory clarity mostly is in place. I said it for like 1.5 years now. That why would MoneyGram in US be able to use ODL if ODL isn't regulated? I have seen payments, ODL transactions from MoneyGram, I think it was just one, over $100,000. To my knowledge, money service MSBs, what's their name? Money service business or money sending that like all those remittance companies, they have like abbreviation MSB, I think, money service business or money sending business or something. To my understanding, it was always limited to $10,000. That's why we users cannot send more, because they have that limit. So tell me how they can send 100,000, which is like 10 times higher. I don't get it. The only thing regulation didn't handle yet is the fact that someone needs to be able to buy XRP for 5,000 or 5,000 for 5 million or 50 million dollars, and this institution who buys that has to hold custody of those XRP they're buying, and that wasn't regulated yet for those amount, at least for those big players. But that's ready. I told it at least in the last German live stream, and I think as well in one of those, maybe in the English live stream. The most important news in all February was a tweet from Wrath of Kahneman. He tweeted that the custody provider of Bison app or Bison exchange, which is like the crypto exchange of the stock exchange in Stuttgart, Germany. They're working together with Block from blockchain and Knox from Fort Knox. Block Knox, which I think it's actually a cool name. And they issued a statement that they're now, I don't know if they state, I don't remember the exact wording. At least they applied, according to that new law introduced early January, that the big guys can apply for custodian services for cryptos, and this Block Knox applied to do that for institutional investors, and that's the biggest news. And I think the way I understood it, did receive by applying for that certification or whatever it is, approval, they kind of receive a temporary permit to do so. And that's, I mean, that's I'm pretty sure in US there I didn't hear about the fact that they need to register, but Coinbase has 3 offerings. Let me quickly look that up. Coinbase services. They have Coinbase Pro, and they have Coinbase Custody. I think it's called Custody Coinbase. And hold on. Pricing. The minimum balance, I thought it was 100,000 on Coinbase Custody. The minimum balance is 1 million. And that service, Coinbase Custody, I think they were ready, please correct me, late 2018. Somewhere in, I don't know, November or so. And that's the guy, those guys, and this Bison, this Block Knox thingy, and similar custodian services for potentially big guys with a lot of money in other countries. That's the kind of stuff we're waiting for those guys being able to play the market making role, and that's it. But regulatory clarity to use ODL, that's there. I think I heard a dog. Hold on. They're a bit nervous. 40 minutes, that's okay. Excellent connection. Mark Fox by use case and utility. I mean, there will come a moment where XRP price will be so high that I mean, okay, in percentage wise it doesn't really matter if XRP has a high price or not. But the how do you say, the relation between XRP price and Bitcoin today is so huge. It's like factor, when you take 10,000 for Bitcoin and 30 cents, it's like 30,000 to 1, that relation. If XRP itself had a value of $2,000, then this ratio will be only 5 to 1. And then this pull of maybe by that time it might be actually different, that all those people who are now in Bitcoin will actually move to XRP, because they assume it'll surge even higher, which it eventually will. Of that I'm 100% sure. G, XRP, not really. The ILP doesn't have a native asset. ILP is just a protocol. Let me explain it with a street. ILP is the highway or freeway, and the cars running on it are the assets. It doesn't have just Mercedes. There is Audis, BMWs, VWs, there is Fords, there is GMs, there is Chevys, there is whatever other cars, and each has its different models as well. That's how you have to imagine ILP. ILP is just the road. However, because XRP will be so much more liquid and so, I mean, faster it's anyway already, like than almost all coins, and those who might be faster right now have security issues such as IOTA. IOTA is with this, I don't know how it's called, Oracle or something. It's kind of like centralized. I mean, the whole point of that thing, which kind of made the IOTA DLT stop a few days or weeks back, because that centralized thingy didn't work properly. And that's exactly what you want to get rid of, and thus IOTA will never really play a huge role. Then there is a few other coins, but until they have this same ecosystem as XRP does, that'll take years. It took Ripple years to create that ecosystem. That's, by the way, one of the main reasons XLM will never take off, because they don't nurture the ecosystem. Okay, so theoretically ILP could be used by any asset. You can actually, as long as the receiver and the sender using the same fiat, there is not even XRP required. Let's say I'm a bank, and who was it? Mr. G XRP, and you're a bank, and I want to send you Swiss franc, and you accept Swiss franc, then we wouldn't even need XRP. We could, I mean, basically, very, very, very simplified. You can imagine like that. Both you, G XRP, and me, we have a balance on Swiss francs. Once I send you Swiss francs, my balance goes down and yours goes up in the same amount. And ILP is kind of just the methodology or methodology who makes sure that this swap kind of happens. That's basically it. And in the case of you having, what was it, you having dollar and me having Swiss franc, this swap will require a bridge asset, because you will not want to receive Swiss franc. And I mean, basically it's like ODL. It's just, ODL is basically like ILP. The only difference between ODL and ILP is that Ripple made this ODL like kind of plug and play into the bank's system, whereas with ILP, because it's just a protocol, you have to build the application on top of it. I have asked those guys like Evan Schwartz and Adrian Hope Bailey, I guess, how they make sure, like initially they were talking about atomic settlement, but atomic settlement would require the ILP connector to have the same amount of money to put aside. I explained that in a video about 1.5 years back, I think in December 2018. And just there we have to see, I mean, the reason why they got away from that is because they saw an ILP connector. I could be an ILP connector. If I'm an ILP connector for a $50 million transaction, I would not be used by that transaction because I cannot put $50 million into escrow. And that's basically how it works. And that's the reason why they brought it down to streaming payments to smaller amounts, which actually is another proof that they're thinking about high value payments. I mean, there's just more. I never really ever thought about that. I mean, would they not anticipate payments higher than $10,000 or so? They wouldn't need to go that route with streaming payments. Now, the problem with streaming payments is because it's not atomic anymore. How do you make sure that the full payment is arrived or not? Let's say you need to send $1 million and you send $1,000 payments, and after 500 of these $1,000 payments, the recipient tells, I'm fine, bye bye. Now, basically your payment is not fully done, and I mean, it's like a state of inconsistency. And this is something I didn't quite understand how that's dealt with on ILP, because it's not atomic anymore. But maybe I'm missing a point there. So far no one could actually answer that for me. I hope that's enough explanation, G, X or P, regarding ILP. GXRP, as I said, it most likely will be XRP, but it's not necessarily. I mean, I could imagine XLM or this Ripple Alpha coin or any other coin which is quite liquid in certain niche markets, that some payments will run through other coins. It's not dedicated to XRP. Anything can be used, but they have like the ILP connectors kind of provide an exchange rate, and then the sender will choose the cheapest one, and XRP will most likely always win. Column ready. Maybe I missed something. You mentioned, you're right, I thought other crypto can be sent across the ledger. Across which ledger? XRP ledger. That's not true. And ILP is not a ledger, it's really just a protocol. Mark C, are you referring to my calculation in the beginning of the stream? Well, no. In my calculation, I didn't calculate that in. But as I said, I think on Bitstamp the fee they charge, but I don't know if it's just for buys or also for sells. They charge 0.5% of spread or fee. But I mean, my figures also, I mean, they weren't really like, I didn't push that. I mean, the point was to show that with the stop loss, with this mechanism, if you do it intelligently, you can increase the holdings of your XRP without being required to put in more money, even when it's basically most of the time, or like, I mean, what we have seen. I mean, this calculation, I started at $2.45 or 46 cents, and now we're like at the 10th of that. And yet in the calculation you end up with double the amount of XRP, and even if it's like just 50% more XRP, it's still worth it. I mean, no, XRP is not a payments protocol. XRP is literally just a digital asset. Let's assume GXRP, you're a merchant like Amazon, and I buy, I don't know, something, a mouse or something on your shop. Then you send me kind of like an invoice and I pay you. So basically you receive money from me, but the payment in your system it actually needs kind to match the invoice record you created. That's a payment. Just sending you money is not a payment. I mean, okay, you have value, but it's basically not a payment as such. I mean, maybe it's a bit not 100% technically correct explained, but just the fact, how could I explain that better? I mean, maybe the other explanation helps you understand it better. In your books, if you're in a US bank, you hold dollar, and the dollar accounts should be kind of balanced with the invoices you send out. And XRP you received wouldn't do that. You would want to have dollar in your account as well. It's literally it's just a bridge asset. It's not a payments protocol. Even ILP is not a payments protocol. ILP is a protocol to send value. But this is very, I mean, some people might call it a payments protocol, but I wouldn't. Exactly, Brito and Schwarz are geniuses. And actually, and this is something, I mean, the bridge asset, this, I repeat that, this idea of a bridge asset is so freaking intelligent. And actually, everyone is using a bridge asset today already. Only everybody is not buying other fiat. Everybody is buying goods and services, but you do not pay with other goods and services. You pay with a bridge, and that's fiat. And if we move a level higher, if you're buying fiat, then we need a different bridge asset. And in that case, it's XRP. That's why I sometimes jokingly call XRP over money or meta money, because it's like one level higher. On the bottom, we use fiat to buy goods and services, and a level higher, we need another bridge to buy fiat. What are you asking me, Mr. Mike? You were thinking about how much? I don't understand your question. I don't understand if you're asking me, neither really what you wanna know, Mr. Mike. Well, actually, I mean, Brito and Schwarz were like the geniuses behind the technology, but I'm pretty sure without without Chris Larsen, even Brito and Schwarz wouldn't. I mean, maybe they would have created a different decentralized ledger technology, like, I don't know, something for identity or so. But literally, the guy with the vision of that bridge asset, I'm pretty sure that vision comes mostly from Chris Larsen. I'm pretty sure, I mean, most likely Arthur Brito and David Schwarz certainly did think a lot about that too. But I mean, that's just a hunch I'm having. The initial kind of idea for this over money or meta money, I'm pretty sure that's coming from Chris Larsen. You are advising me then trade with no more than 2 or 3% of what I'm holding. Well, I will do it with a it'll be play money. Don't worry, Mr. Mike. It'll literally be play money. But I mean, as you all know, as I have lost my job, that play money has kind of shrank to zero right now. So I'm also in need of a price increase. $1-2 would already be. I do have some spare XRP. Yes, I know. Can you actually, guys and girls and everyone, check that do you remember the name of that video, GXRP? I saw it in a recent interview. Who was talking about it? I don't remember. Someone mentioned that video. But I think searching by Stephen Thomas and BTC will bring you that video on YouTube. Content consume. I have no clue how the price will start. I just am very much convinced by natural price. I mean, if utility alone would bring a price increase, how long is MoneyGram now using ODL? Half a year. Then we should be, I don't know, at least almost around the dollar already now. But as a matter of fact, we dropped and dropped and dropped. So don't tell me there is something wrong. But this can and will stop once XRP has a high price. And I mean, it just doesn't make sense for a natural price increase. As long we would like forever be in the, I don't know, in the claws of Bitcoin. Something must happen to break free of that. And that will happen. Otherwise XRP is a failure, and I simply refuse to accept that fact. So one last question. In the meantime, I'm saying goodbye. And thank you everyone it was a bit calm today. That's interesting, since even though we dropped to 25 cents, but since for a very long time we have been around 20 cents and even below, and then rose above 30 cents, the community stress level got really much lower. Maybe it was just required to see that we can go like 10-15% in a day or so. And I'm pretty sure that will happen again in the future. So I really want to thank you guys that you showed up to my English live stream today. On Thursday I will have a German live stream again. Please join the No Money No Shave movement. There is already 100 guys participating, even a woman. I don't know, she asked me what to do and I told her to become creative, and she basically mentioned maybe I won't shave my armpits or something. I think it's kind of funny. The idea behind it is also it should remove some additional stress which might come along in the coming, I don't know, few weeks, and it should be quite a lot of fun. Like eventually, like here in Switzerland, it would be kind of piece of cake to get a group gathering for all those who let their beards grow when we moon and take a group photo of that. And I mean, as we would have enough money, we could even have a group shave by like 10 or 15 barbers or so, something like that. So I really think it's a funny idea. So last question, and then I really will say goodbye. Michael, manche Chartanalysten gehen davon aus, dass XRP HB, also Chartanalysten, ich gebe einfach nichts drauf. Und wenn auch. So, why would you use anything if you're guaranteed always safe and fast? Well, that's an interesting question. GXRP. I mean, I could imagine that, I don't know. I mean, I see little use cases, but let's think about Africa. Maybe XLM Stellar Lumens might have some better liquidity in Africa between Ethiopia and Cameroon. And maybe if they have trade with each other, they use X. I mean, in the end, it really doesn't care, but it will be, I don't know, like a percent or less than a percent of the global market, which will be used by other bridge assets. And for those who didn't receive that information, in Switzerland we also have currently at least 3 methods of payment. One is the Swiss francs, obviously, and then we have Rekhacheck. Rekhacheck is coming from Reisekasse, Reisekasse, and it basically means travel wallet, so to speak. And it was a service which existed many, 50 years or longer, and that organization, Rekhacheck, they made sure that even families with kids could go to vacation somewhere in Switzerland and find a decently priced apartment to rent for 2 weeks with their kids. And in order to make that attractive, that service, they kind of issued this Rekhacheck. And many companies, I'm not employed anymore, but the company I was employed before, actually I could even show it to you, because I just the other day, no, that's Mega, here. So that's what I received from my company. Einzahlungsschein. That's about 400. And I pay 400, but I receive Rekhacheck in the value of 500. So I actually have a discount. And Rekhacheck is accepted in certain gas stations and other services as well, besides those vacation services like apartments and stuff. That's one thing. And another thing is VIA. I don't know what VIA stands for, but basically all construction industry, if you pay them by VIA or they want to pay you by VIA, it's usually accepted. And let's say I have my roof reconstructed, I could pay the, I don't know how it's called, carpenter. I could pay him in VIA, and he would actually then use VIA and buy the stuff, the produce he requires to redo my roof at some discount that the retailer, I don't know how that's called. So there exist other bridges, but they have a shadow. They're not really important. They don't drive the economy. The driver in Switzerland is Swiss francs, and the same will be the case for in the whole world. There will be niche players, but it literally won't have an effect. So, and with that, I wanna say thank you again. Take care. See you next week, or maybe during how is it called? Ad hoc live stream. Take care. Wrong. That one.